Hello, I'm Nora, and welcome back to Novels with Nora. Fall is practically upon us, and even though it is still like 80 degrees here, September 22nd is officially the first day of fall, like seasonally, and I am ready. I'm wearing a sweater, even though it is much too warm today to be doing this, and I'm going to be decorating for fall soon, so today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I am interested in reading this fall slash Halloween, because some of these are like Halloween specific. I have plans to read a few of these in a specific vampire vlog, so you'll notice a theme of vampire books, but I don't think I'm actually going to get to all of these because realistically, fall reading for me is like 2 months, because then I really enjoy reading like a holiday Christmassy romance once we get into December. So realistically, I have like 2 months and I think I have over 20 books to share with you today, so I will not be reading all of them, but I think it's good to have a collection of fall and Halloween themed reads to pull from when I'm in the mood, rather than being in the mood and then trying to search something out. I can be in the mood and be like, I have this whole list. So this video is as much for you as it is for me, so that when I am in the mood for like fall atmosphere, leaves falling, spooky vibes, I have this video to turn to of an entire list of books to read. So without further ado, let's just get into it. I'm going to start with the books that are on my shelves that I hope to get to, and then we will move over to my chair to talk about all of the books that I do not own, but do genuinely want to read. So the first book I have is actually something that I've owned for a while, but I've been saving for fall Halloween time, and that is Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. It even has, like, this is just giving Halloween, right? So this follows this guy who was part of the cast of this horror movie that was made back in the 90s, and only 3 scenes from that movie were ever released, and he is the only surviving cast member. And then in the present day, Hollywood is trying to do a reboot of this film, and so he is reflecting back on all of the like weird, terrible things that happened on this film set, and then also trying to redo the movie and all the bad things that are happening again. And I just feel like this is like a perfect like Halloween read because it has like the horror movie aspect, but then also I've heard really great things about Paul Tremblay's writing, so I'm really looking forward to getting to this one this season. Next, I have another thing that I have been saving for fall Halloween, and I've owned this for a few years and haven't gotten to it, so this is the year, and that is Slewfoot by Brom. And I know pretty much nothing about this other than it is set like in like the original colonies, and there's like this devil type demon creature, and there are some like illustrations in here, and like they're creepy, so I'm really looking forward to getting to this. And like this book is kind of like a weird shape, but it's very floppy. I've heard a lot about this author and about this book in particular, which is what made me buy it in the first place, so I'm really looking forward to actually finally reading this one, and I feel like this fall and especially Halloween is going to be perfect for this. Next, I have a few of the things that I plan on reading in my vampire reading vlog. So I'm not going to go too in depth on these because I am going to do a full vlog on that. But first and foremost, and what started this whole vlog idea off, is Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu, which is like came before Dracula and was like one of the original vampire stories, but is also kind of sapphic. And so I'm really looking forward to reading this. And I searched high and low for this edition that was edited by Carmen Maria Machado, because the original version, the way that it was originally written, was kind of like homophobic in a way. And he was making it seem like, as far as I am aware, obviously haven't read it yet, being sapphic is what led to like the demise of these 2 women. And so I have a Carmilla retelling where they're sapphic and not an evil, horrible way written by a man. So I'm really excited about this. And then I have a classic vampire novel that I feel like has been super popular and will continue to be pretty popular, and that is A Diary of Blood, which is about Dracula's brides. And so I'm really, oh, and there's a bookmark in there. And so I'm really looking forward to getting to this, as well as Silver Under Nightfall. This is the one I know the least about, and I don't think I even realized it was vampires at first, but it definitely is. And this one's thicker and also in a series. So these are some things you have to look forward to me reading in an upcoming vlog sometime in October. Moving on, I have Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid, and this is about Lady Macbeth. However, I don't know much more beyond that. However, I feel like this is gonna have such good like gothic vibes that are just gonna be so good for like a dreary fall day. And I mean, look at this book itself is just stunning. Like, yeah, and then there's this, and then even on the back, yeah, I feel like that's going to be perfect for like I said, a dreary fall day when I just want something that's not necessarily set during the fall, but has like the dreary gothic fall gloomy vibes. I think this is going to be perfect for that. I also think it's good to have things on this list that aren't necessarily like fall specific, but just kind of give like the eerie, chilling atmosphere. And I feel like I don't know if I've read something from Ava Reid before, but I've heard really great things about her writing, and so I'm really looking forward to getting to this. I feel like I'm gonna say that for every single book, because especially the ones that I own and then the ones that I'm excited to read, obviously I'm excited to get to them, but I am really excited about this because I bought this one kind of on a whim, but I've heard really great things about it since, and so I am really looking forward to these gothic vibes. Another thing that I forgot to mention might also be included in the vampire reading vlog is this Ravenous Fate, which is sapphic vampires in the 1920s. I'm in. That's all I need to know. I love sapphic books. I love vampires, I think. I feel like I'm really stepping into my vampire era this fall, and I really love books that are set in the 1920s outside of a white perspective, and I do believe this is written by a woman of color. Yes, so I am really looking forward to this one as well. Okay, so those are all of the things I own that I'm really looking forward to, and most of them are already dedicated to that vampire reading vlog, so I'm really, really excited to do that. I read Lucy Undying earlier this year, and I was like, maybe I do like vampires, because I had always been more of like a werewolf girl. Like when I watched Twilight, I was Team Jacob, mainly just because I didn't really ever care for vampires, but I thought werewolves were like so cool and so underutilized in media. But after reading Lucy Undying, I was like, no, vampires can be done in a super cool way, because the way the vampire lore was done in that novel was very interesting, where like Lucy, the main vampire character, she could like turn herself into mist, and like they could shapeshift and do all these cool things that I'd never seen done in vampires before. And so that's partly on me for just not consuming that much vampire media. So this fall, we are changing that. So really excited for that. But now let's move over to my chair to talk about all of the things that I don't own but want to be reading. Okay, we are now over in my chair. I have my computer here to talk to you about all of these books. And this fall, I really want to focus on actually, like, I have a whole bunch of art that I need to hang up here to make this not just a plain purple wall. You can see there's something up here, but like I own so many other art prints that I want to put up. So this fall we're doing it. Mark my words. But let's just get started. I have like 50 million Goodreads tabs open for all of the books that I want to talk to you about. So let's just dive right in, because I do have quite a few to talk to you about. Starting with the novel that I already have plans to read, and it's going to be in an upcoming vlog, Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. I love Agatha Christie's writing. I think I've only read one other book from her, and I had the ending spoiled for me. It was And Then There Were None is what I read, and the ending was spoiled by one of my teachers. So that was kind of evil, but I'm really looking forward to this. And I mean, look at the cover. Look at the title. This is about this teenager who's at this Halloween party. Fantastic, already setting the vibes, and they're talking about a murder, and she's like, I witnessed the murder, and they're all like okay, sure you did. And then she ends up dead, drowned in the like bobbing for apples tub, and they're like, oh, maybe something's going on here. And this is like a murder mystery set at a Halloween party. So I mean, how perfect, and I'm really looking forward to this. It's also, all of her novels are short, but I feel like this is just gonna set the vibes perfectly. So moving on from that, we have another one that I think is gonna set the vibes perfectly. Everything She Does Is Magic. I mean, just look at the cover. I feel like a lot of these, especially when I'm picking like seasonal reads, I'm not picking them for like their beautiful prose most of the time, or like how in-depth their plots are. I just want something like fun that's really gonna set the vibe, and this looks like it's gonna do that exactly, like to a T. So this follows our one main character whose parents own like a Halloween store, and they expect her to take over that store, but she's just like ready to go off to college. But then our other main character is like an actual witch, and she's like coming into her power and stepping into a leadership role in the coven. And then obviously a romance ensues from there, and that's all I know, and that's all I want to know. Look how cutie this cover is. I will be reading this one for sure. Next, we have another cutie romance, not sapphic this time, and that is Ghost Business by Jen DeLuca, and this is a sequel. This is I don't think sequel's really the right way. I think it's like second in like a interconnected standalone type series of Boneyard Key, and this is about two like rival ghost tour leaders, and obviously romance ensues. I feel like when I read romance, I don't really want to know a whole lot about the plot, because I feel like especially in romances where like the romance is the plot and it's not like romance in a bigger plot, if you read the synopsis, you kind of know what's going to happen, and like obviously there's going to be other things that like surprise you, but with romances I really like to know very little. I just like to know like the basic premise, and this, they lead like haunted ghost tours, and I just feel like that's so fun. And also, again, the cover is just so cutesy. And also I've read from Jen DeLuca before, her like Ren Fair romance series, so really excited about this. I would go back and read the first one before getting to this, but that one doesn't really sound as interesting to me as this one that's about like ghost tours, because I've always wanted to go on one. I haven't. Maybe this year I will, but really looking forward to this one as well. The next book I want to read this fall is Grave Flowers, and this one I just heard about recently, and it's not necessarily a fall book, but like just giving the cover, and I feel like this one's just gonna have a more like dark vibe that I might be looking for, again outside of just like the stereotypical like fall Halloween type novel. And this follows our main character whose twin sister was betrothed to this guy of another kingdom, but then something happens to her sister, and so she has to take her sister's place as the betrothed. But her sister wasn't just betrothed to him, she was also supposed to kill him. So now she has to step into her sister's place, get close to him and kill him in order to solidify an alliance between that guy's uncle. But her sister is like trapped in this like weird purgatory area space where she then needs to kill this guy but also save her sister. And the cover, beautiful, the plot very intriguing. So I love when it's like, I need to kill you but now I'm kind of falling for you. So really looking forward to this one as well. Then we have something that I was so excited for when it was announced, and I feel like if you watched any of the Scooby-Doo shows growing up and you liked the Hex Girls, this one's for you. And that is A Rogue Thorn, a Hex Girls novel. Look at the cover. I don't need to know anything else. This follows the Hex Girls. What else could I possibly need to know? And I feel like this is just perfect because I feel like it's going to capture that nostalgia of like watching like the Scooby-Doo movies and shows when you were younger, but like elevating it a little bit and making it a little bit older, because I think it's a YA novel, but I mean, come on now. We're getting a whole novel focused on the Hex Girls. I'm in. And also the cover is still giving like those spooky, eerie, but like fun and kind of cheesy Scooby-Doo vibes. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Like, I'm so excited for this. Next we have Zom Romcom by Olivia Dade. And I have read a few of her romance novels before and I really like them. They're very good with like the consent and like talking through things and like having good conversations. And this one, as I'm sure you can guess by the title, is about zombies. So it's set in this zombie apocalypse, but then the love interest is a vampire. And so I feel like just combining the two like that is just like, it's so perfect for Halloween. And I feel like it's gonna be like fun and a little bit cheesy, but also like cutesy. Like, it's gonna be like a perfect rom-com novel, but like set perfectly for fall. I'm really looking forward to this because I love Olivia Dade's writing, and so I'm really looking forward to reading something a little bit sillier from her. And also this is just such like a fun concept, and also it looks like it's gonna be in a series, so really actually quite excited for this. I have heard some people not really enjoying this one, but I feel like going into it just wanting a fun time, because that's usually what I want for my romances. I don't need them to do anything super profound for me, especially when it's a straight romance. No offense, but like, I'm not looking for like artistry, you know? And maybe it'll give that to me, but I'm just really excited to have a fun time with this one. Then I have something I've been meaning to get to for a while, and that is Moth Eater. And just look at this cover. This is an Appalachian horror, and I'm really quite fascinated by this, and I feel like I'm just gonna read the description to you because it's only one paragraph, and just the writing of it, I feel like if that's how the book is written, I'm really gonna enjoy it. So it says, after her best friend dies in a coal mine, Benethia Benny Maddox sacrifices her job, her relationship, and her reputation to uncover what's killing miners on Keir Mountain. When she finds a half-drowned white woman in a dirty mine slough, Benny takes her in because it's right, but also because she hopes this odd magnetic stranger can lead her to the proof she needs. Instead, she brings more questions. The woman called Moth Eater can't remember her true name or how she ended up inside the mountain. She knows only that she's a witch of Appalachia, bound to Tor and Holler, possum and snake, with power in her hands and scripture on her tongue. But the mystery of her fate, her doomed quest to keep industry off Keir Mountain, and the promises she bent and broke have followed her a century and a half into the future. And now, the choices Moth Eater and Benny make together could change the face of the town itself. And I'm just really looking forward to this. I feel like this writing could like really work for me. And I feel like Appalachian horror is like really having its moment. And I'm excited to get in on that. Then I have the only book from Erin A. Craig that I haven't read yet, and that is The 13th Child. And on the genres thing of Goodreads, one of them is Gothic. And I love Erin A. Craig's writing. She just does everything so atmospherically, and just like looking at the cover and knowing what this is about and having like the Gothic marker on here, I just know this is going to be perfect for fall. And because this is the only thing from her I haven't read yet, I've been like saving it for like a good time, and I feel like fall is like the perfect time for this one. So this follows our main character Hazel, who her godfather is pretty much death, and he has given her the gift of healing, and so she is like this great healer. However, she can tell just by looking at someone like what the needed cure is. But this comes with a price in that she can also tell when someone has been marked for death, and then she can't do anything about it. And her gift brings her to the royal court, where she meets the prince, who she's obviously going to fall for. However, the prince's father, the king, has been marked by death, in that now Hazel cannot save him. But she wants to get closer to this prince, so she's just like battling with, should she do what she knows she's supposed to do or what she wants to do for her heart? And it's Erin A. Craig, so I know I'm gonna eat it up. Then I have The House Where Death Lives, which is like a YA horror anthology collection. And I have wanted to read this for a long time because another one of my favorite authors, Courtney Gould, has a story in this collection. And I want to read everything that she writes, so I'm putting this one tentatively here. I feel like short story collections are really a hit or miss for me, because sometimes it's like I really like them because I like having just like so many little ideas all together, but sometimes they kind of just like annoy me because it's like, no, I want more from like the ones that I really like, and then I'm just kind of annoyed by the ones that I don't like. So we'll see if this ends up working for me, but I do definitely want to at least read Courtney Gould's story in this, which I don't know what it's about, but it's written by Courtney Gould, so I know I'm gonna like it. Next, I have The Haunting of Velkwood, which is a recommendation from Booksanala because I know she really enjoyed this one. And so I don't know a whole lot about it other than there's this like area, house, apartment complex, I don't know, there's something that is like shrouded behind this veil and only 3 survivors can get in and out. And that's all I know about it, and that's all I want to know about it. Sometimes, like I mentioned with the romances, sometimes I want to know more and sometimes I don't. And this is one where I feel like sometimes things, especially like thrillers, mysteries, they just work better if you don't know what you're getting yourself into until you're in it, and then you're just like, oh my gosh. Where I feel like if you read the synopsis, then you have like expectations of what you think is gonna happen, and like maybe that can be a good thing because then like it can subvert your expectations in a way that really works. But I find that like when I set my expectations and then they get subverted in a way that I'm not enjoying, just because of the expectations and the possibilities I built up in my head, then I don't end up enjoying it as much. So especially with like thrillers and mysteries, I like to know as little as possible. So that's all I want to know about this one, but I do think I want to read this one this fall. This next one is another one by an author that I've really enjoyed and has the Gothic marker on Goodreads, and that is Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek, because I just recently read A Treachery of Swans by this author and absolutely loved it, and found myself wishing for more of that author's writing because it was just very gothic, very autumnal, because it had that like dreary, dark, gloomy vibe that I was kind of like wishing I had read it in the fall instead of like the 80-degree weather that I read it in. But then I found out that she has another novel, and this one, look at the cover. This one is not sapphic, but I do still really want to read this one. I think it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling because it follows our main character who like unleashes her magic but then gets like swept away by the warden of the wood, who offers her a bargain, 1 year of servitude in exchange for a wish, which feels very Beauty and the Beast-esque. But like looking at the cover and like knowing this author's writing, really looking forward to this. And I don't always love Beauty and the Beast retellings, but I really liked this author's writing, so I'm really hoping that this works for me. Another author that I've read from in the past and really enjoyed is Crystal Maldonado, and she has written a novel perfect for fall, and that is The Fall of Whit Rivera. And this, just looking at it, it looks perfect. It is about these 2 exes, I guess, who were together and then he broke up with her, and now they have to plan the fall formal together, and obviously things are going to go awry. And Crystal Maldonado is such a fun writer in that her concepts are so fun, but she handles them with such like gravity and heart, and like really trusts younger readers to like handle heavier topics and just like bigger things in a way that is like really, really wonderful. And even though I am a bit of an older reader, obviously not like a teen anymore, her novels still just really work for me. And so I'm really looking forward to this, especially because it feels so perfect for fall. And like sometimes I feel like, especially in the fall, I just want like a nostalgic vibe. Like I just want something that's really gonna like make me relive like the fall Halloween parties of my youth. And I feel like this could do that, especially like as they're planning like a fall party. I think this could be absolutely perfect. And we will, at the end of this video, talk more about some things that I read when I was a child and want to revisit that I tend to do every fall because they just get me in like the perfect spirit for Halloween. So we will talk about that, but this I feel like kind of fits in there. And I'm just really excited for this because I think it's really going to just capture the essence of fall as a teenager. And there's just something so magical about fall and Halloween when you're younger. Like there's still a little bit of it when you get older, but like the nostalgia of it all. And I think this might really do a good job of capturing that. At least I hope. Then switching gears completely, we have a YA horror fantasy by Kosoko Jackson, The Forest Demands Its Due. And this says, a YA horror fantasy set in dark academia about a queer Black teen who discovers the sinister history of his boarding school and the corrupt powers behind it all. I'm in. Also, this cover, freaky. I also really like when authors mix horror and fantasy together because I feel like it really works for me. Like it really does something that I enjoy. And I love a boarding school setting. I love, especially when it's like a YA boarding school, something about it just, oh, it really does it. And I think that this is really, really going to be wonderful for me. I've never read anything from this author before, but I've heard really great things about their writing. So excited to get to this one. Switching gears completely yet again, I have Spookly Yours by Jennifer Chipman. And this is just giving like the cheesy, fun, silly rom-com Halloween vibes that I really do think I'm going to really love. I love like the Halloween and fall Hallmark movies. I always watch them with my mom, and like she decorates so beautifully in the living room, and like we have all these different like little lights, and just like watching the like fall Hallmark movies where they're always like at a fall festival and like a pumpkin patch. I feel like this book is going to give like a slight like paranormal twist on that exact vibe, because this follows the main character whose cat is a demon, and she has to end up like, let me just read this to you because it's very short. My cat is a demon. No, that's not a joke. An actual real life demon. And he needs my help to break a curse. But what happens when that turns into more? It can never be forever. And yet, I'm falling in love with him anyway. And I feel like this is gonna be so fun. And I feel like it's only 235 pages, so it's relatively short. I think this one is only available on Kindle, so we'll see if I end up getting to this one. But it says, Spookily Yours is a spicy open-door Halloween-themed novel featuring a witch and the demon who falls in love with her. This book is a complete standalone with a happily ever after guaranteed. And I feel like sometimes you just want like that cozy, fun vibe. And this, I've said vibe so many times in this video, forgive me, but this, even just like look at it. I don't know if I'll end up getting to this one. It's kind of outside my comfort zone because I don't typically pick up just like cheesy romances like this, but it sounds super fun, so I had to include it. And then finally, another complete tonal switch. I have a nonfiction novel called Killing the Witches, The Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. And this is just a nonfiction about what happened in Salem. And I am trying to read more nonfiction this year, and I feel like this would be like the perfect nonfiction to read in October. So I don't know, we'll see if I end up getting to this, if I end up choosing this over all of the fiction things on this list. But I've had this on my Goodreads want to read shelf for a very long time, and I feel like the fall is the perfect time to get to it. So we'll see if I end up getting to this one, but I do hope that I do, because I would like to be reading more nonfiction, and I feel like this one would be perfect for fall. But those are all of the, like, I don't want to say actual novels, but actual novels that I hope to get to this fall. Obviously, I will not get to all of them, especially because I have some other things I'd like to read, which I'm now going to talk to you about. So during the fall, I mentioned like just like the nostalgia of it all. And I found that a way that I love to capture that nostalgia now that I'm older is to reread a lot of the things that I really enjoyed when I was younger. And my library, which love, they had their like picture books divided by holidays, and so all of the like fall ones and like the Halloween ones had a little pumpkin sticker on the spine. And so even as I was a little bit older, I would still go into that section because it was like chapter books as well as picture books, so like a mix of ages in there. And I would just go through and pick out ones that seemed fun. And even though I'm like technically like too old for picture books, but are you ever really too old for a picture book? No. I would go through and find ones that like looked fun, and I would just sit and like spend an hour or so just like reading through and like looking at the fun illustrations in like these fall picture books. And I plan on doing that again this year because I feel like it really just like puts you in the like atmosphere of fall and just like helps to really recapture some of the magic of the season that you really have when you're younger. So I definitely want to be doing that, as well as reading some of the more not exactly like fall themed things that I read when I was younger, but there was this series called Monster Manor. I'll put a picture of the few books here. And these books were just so fun because it was kind of similar to Hotel Transylvania, but like a little bit, I don't want to say sillier, but like a little bit gorier maybe. And it was just so fun. My brother and I read these together, and I just have such fond memories of these books. And so I'm going to request them all from my library and read them. They're very short, and like because they're chapter books meant for like younger kids, I get through them really quickly, but they really just like give me the same like feeling that I had when I was younger reading them for the first time. And so I will be rereading those again because I just wanted to make it a tradition to do every year because they're so fun and they just like really capture the essence of fall for me. And on top of that, I want to read some of the like fall Halloween editions of Geronimo Stilton because those were my favorite books growing up. My library has such a huge selection of them, and the Geronimo Stilton and the Thea Stilton series loved. And so those are also so fun because they have illustrations, and then the words like have like fun like colors and like fonts and different things that I feel like is just more visually entertaining than some just like obviously like regular novels. And so I really want to reread some of those too because they're also just so fun. And I feel like for me, I just want to like have a fun, cozy time in fall, and those books really do it for me. And obviously I'll be watching like the classics, Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town, all of those things. Personally, my favorite fall movie is Halloween Town, the one where they're like in school. Love that one. I don't know what it is, but I eat that up every time. So and obviously the Hallmark movies too, can't forget them. So I'm just really looking forward to this fall. I feel like especially now that I'm home, I'm done with college, I will be home like solidly. I feel like I can make more plans and like do more things and like go to a pumpkin patch, go like apple picking and do all of the things and not have to worry like this is the only weekend I have home, so I have to cram everything in. I can do it more like leisurely. And so I'm really hoping that I get to a lot of these things. I know I won't get to all of them, but I'm at least hoping that I get to a third, maybe at least some of them. I really want to prioritize seasonal reading because that's not something I've ever really done before. And then the season like passes me by and I'm like, wait, all of the fall books I wanted to read. And like you can still read them outside of the season. There's just something about reading like a fall book or like a horror while the leaves are turning and like you have that like gloomy situation going on. And I really want to capitalize on that this year, and I plan to. So this video, again, is as much for me as it is for you. So I hope maybe you found a recommendation in here or got excited for the fall, got excited for some of the videos I have upcoming, but I'm really excited to get started with my fall reading. I am actually going to be starting reading some of these very soon for a video that's coming out my time Saturday. So very excited about that. I'm just really ready to romanticize this season now that I'm home permanently. So I have a lot of things planned for the fall, and I hope that you are going to have a great fall. Even if you can't do too many things, I hope you can at least sit back and enjoy the weather at the very least. So thank you so much for being here. If you have any fall recommendations of movies, books especially, I would love, or just any fun activities you're doing this fall, I would love to hear them. So leave a comment down below. But thank you so much for being here. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in another video again soon. Bye.